Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm going to talk about my Dragon Ruler deck for the Genesis format and kind of show you some of the cards I'm playing and maybe give you a bit of a combo video towards the end of the deck profile. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so let's talk about the deck itself, right? So the deck is the even 100 points here. Um, as you know, the Dragon Ruler themselves are 7 points each, and we're playing a total of 10, so that's 70 points. And then the last 30 points are going to be in our um, extra deck. The deck runs 0 hand traps, so this deck, if you're going second, you're just going to have to try to power through your opponent's board. And if you're going first, cool. It doesn't really matter too much if you're going first. But going second is going to be a little rough because we are dedicating all of our points to the sideboard, or sorry, the main deck and to the extra deck, and not really much to the playing the hand traps. And the problem with the hand traps in this deck is they can cause you to brick, so you don't really want to be playing too many hand traps if you can help it. But there are some cards you can cut if you do want to play some hand traps. Um, Deck itself is also 40 cards, so pretty flat across the board there, nothing too special. Okay, so the deck itself is kind of based on Joshua Smith's deck a little bit with a couple of extra cards. Um, but yeah, we're gonna play his ratios here. We have the three big blasters, Tempest, or three Tempest, two Tidal, and two Redox. Blaster, I think you do need 3 copies of because Chasma dumps a card to the graveyard for his effect. Most of the time, you're going to be dumping either Blaster or Tempest, and you do run them through the deck pretty quickly depending on how what kind of combo you're doing. So having 3 Blaster is nice, and then the 2 Tempest, or sorry, 3 Tempest is also nice to kind of open up with or to search, dump with Chasma to search out whatever dragon you want. Every monster in the deck is a dragon, so basically you can search whatever you want if you use its first discarding effect or you use Chasma's effect to copy it. Tidal is probably the worst one. You don't really use it for anything. You don't really need to dump anything to the grave per se. So I would say Tidal is probably the effect that I never really use. I use him just as a name, so or as a body. Redox, I do use Chasma to sometimes dump Redox to target a card to bring back, or Monster Reborn them basically. But outside of that, that's all it really does. And so the Redox and Tidal are probably our worst big dragons, so we don't really need to max out on their copy. Okay, next off, let's talk about the baby dragons. So we have pretty much 2 of everything. I think this is fine. You do want to open the baby dragons more than anything else to kind of get your things running. But yeah, 2 of each of the original baby dragons. Sorry, let's scoot them down a little bit here. Yeah, 2 of each of the original baby dragons. Sorry if the glare is a little bad. I don't know if we can really fix that. But yeah, 2 of each of the baby dragons, original baby dragons, and then we have the new baby dragons, the 3 light one and the 1 dark one. Light one's really good. Basically searches for any dragon rulers that you need, any name that you need. So you do use that. And the dark one is just more of an extender because it summons 2 big dragons from the banish. So you would have to be mid combo in order to make him useful. So you don't really need to play more than 1 copy, if anything. Yeah. Okay. Next off for the that's it for the Dragon Ruler engine. So it's pretty big. I think you're running about 22 monsters, 22 big dragons, or 22 dragon rulers. So it's a pretty big engine there. And then we have playing 2 subsidiary engines. We're playing the Arm Dragon and the Rose Dragon package. So Rose Dragon package is pretty self-contained. As long as you summon a Rose Dragon and you synchro with one of the big dragons, you'll summon the Rocks Dragon from deck, and then that searches for another Rose Dragon. So 1 card becomes essentially 3 cards, right? So self-contained engine, and you do use rank, or sorry, synchro 10 quite a bit. So it's nice to have access to that. So 3 Rose Dragons there. And in Arm Dragon, this is just to basically kind of help you not lose too many cards, because if your opponent's playing Ash and they Ash you, it really does kind of suck. But with this, it allows you to kind of play through Ash. The deck is weak to Droll and Lockbird though, because the deck searches a ton. So if your opponent draws you, you're kind of kind of done-ish, but not really. You can kind of play through it. But Ash Blossom hurts, but definitely Droll also hurts. But the Arm Dragon, kind of nice to help you there. Basically, you can use um, level 5 to search for either level 7 or a Pile Dragon or a Tempest. You can use uh, level 7 to search for Pile Dragon, Arm Dragon 5, or a Baby one. And the Baby one just draws a card. So most of the time I like to start off, if you open up with this card, you can discard this, one wind monster or one level 7 special summon it, and then you can also use its effect. So I use its effect targeting itself. You can dump any of these cards, right? You can dump level 5, which will then activate to search your level 7, so that gets you a card that replaces the cost of summoning it, or you dump a level 3 and then you just draw a card. Um, Level 3 being the worst one out of all of them. Drawing a random card doesn't really help all that much. So oftentimes I'm not really using this too much. I only use this one when I summon out Arm Dragon and then there's nothing else. I've already used level 7, I've already used level 5. Then I'll dump the level 3 just to draw a card. So that's what level 3 is in there. And these are once per turn effects, so you can't just keep dumping 5 to search for 5, to then go for 7. But you can slowly rank up if you wanted to. So you can go 5, search for 7, 7 searches for 3 if you wanted to, or 5, search for pile, summon pile, dump 7, search for 3, then dump 3 with a, or discard 3 with a dragon ruler or something, and draw a card. So that's typically how you want to use this particular engine, and I find it pretty handy. Pile Dragon also acts as a level 7 extender, so you can also overlay or synchro with him if you like. So yeah, just the small, I want to say like 6 card Arm Dragon package, and then you have your spells here. You have 3 Sacred Swords, 3 Here There Be Dragons, and then 2 Super Rejuve. So Super Rejuve is one of those cards that really good in theory, kind of bad in practice from my experience. It has 2 main weaknesses. First weakness is that it can be a brick. Like if you don't draw any cards that discard anything, then you're kind of bricking yourself. Also, sometimes when you open up your hand, you don't have, if you open up 2 Super Rejuve and you kind of clog yourself there because they don't do anything until the end of the turn, anyways. And then that's the other main weakness because like we don't play any hand traps, so Super Rejuve is not gonna be all that great. We can draw like 5 cards, but those 5 cards don't do anything on your opponent's turn, so it's kind of useless. So you have to survive until your next turn in order to cash it in, right? So Super Rejuve, it's a good and bad card. I think, back in 2016, 2017, it was amazing, because you're not going to get OTK'd. Unfortunately, in Genesis, the format's still fast enough where you can potentially just die if you pass up with a pretty weak board. Your opponent breaks it. Sure, you cast a Super Rejuve, you draw like 5, 6, 7 cards, but you'll die on that on their turn. So Super Rejuve is one of those cards that I think is fine. I wouldn't max out on it just because it's a very risky card in terms of drawing too many of them, or drawing and it doesn't really do anything. It's not going to help you win the game. What it's good at doing is extending the game, right? So if you're in a game state where you're grinding, then yes, Super Juve is amazing. But outside of that, it's kind of a dead card. So I just playing 2 copies just to have them if I want to see them. But other than that, it's not very. It doesn't really contribute to our win condition per se. Okay, extra deck wise, we have 2 Chasma, 2 Eclipse, and 2 Dusters, or sorry, not Duster, Disasters. So 2 of each. Most of the time, I don't bring out the second Disaster at all, but I do bring out multiple copies of these, and I think 2 of each is fine. You can even do just minimum just 3 through or 2 2 1 if you wanted to, but I decided to just max out the Disaster in case I needed to go into a second copy. Most of the time I don't. So next off, you have the 1 Blaze. Blaze is okay. It's nice in the sense that you can pop a card, pop that one, and then you can exile or banish 2 big dragons or something, bring him back, and then if you wanted to, you can use there be dragon or something like that, or use him and overlay him into like Disaster or something like that. So he has some uses, not the greatest rank 7, but it's there. Then we have Dark Arm Annihilation, and we have I don't want to pronounce his name, but yeah, Big Eye, Mecha Phantom Beast, and Zeus. Uh, if you make this guy with like, or sorry, Disaster with like 6 material under it, you can overlay it into Zeus and basically just win off of that. Like your opponent's never gonna come back with a 6 material Zeus, or no, sorry, 7 material Zeus essentially under it. So that's what the Zeus is for. Um, Big Eye, Mecha Phantom Beast, not really much to say about them. Um, this guy right here is kind of nice because he can be a quick effect on your opponent's turn if you have 2 dragons, or if you have a dragon material under him. So that's all he's really used for. Uh, Dark Arm Annihilation is interesting because his effect is not once per turn. So if you overlay two dragons into him, or you overlay 3, you can pop 3 cards and then banish cards from the graveyard, which then triggers to search and stuff. So yeah, Annihilation is kind of nice. You almost never make him on top of another Dark Monster because that's like almost impossible. We don't really play enough Dark Monsters in the deck to do so. Because I think it needs a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon Monster, which we don't have at all in the main deck, I don't think. We have the Baby Dragons and we have Rose Dragon, which are like level 3s. And then the only other Dark Dragon we have is the Eclipse, which doesn't have a level, so yeah. And finally, we have our Synchros. We have Arms of Genesys Return 0, Dissipator, and we have the Sovereign. So I guess you could technically do Dissipator and then use it as material for Annihilation, but that's kind of a bad play there. This card is good in the sense that as long as you have a bunch of elements in your attributes in your graveyard, you can just banish them to negate stuff and destroy. And then when you banish stuff, obviously, if you banish a big dragon, you can search. So it's kind of nice there. Chi Ying is just a big beater most of the time. Don't really use him all that time, but you can get him to 4,000 attack pretty easily, or even more. So if you need to run something over, he's kind of like your go-to guy there. Dissipator is nice in the sense that we do banish a lot of stuff, so you can always treat him as like a pop 1 card on your opponent's field. And you can kind of reborn your Rose Dragons and things like that if you want to make more copies of level 10 Synchros there. Okay. Last off is the extra deck, or sorry, side deck. I kind of just threw this together. It basically just kind of copied Joshua Smith's Cyborg. It's nothing new or nothing like crazy. I haven't really test played the side deck too much, but you have triple Lava Golem, 2 Raw Mode, 3 Crows. You have Dark Ruler, and then a Fairy Duster or Twin Twister and Shared Ride. Don't use this as a template for a good side deck. It's just kind of thrown together right now. So I don't really want to spend too much time on that. But in theory, you don't use normal summons, so the Lava Golem, when going second, these are just really good board breakers because, obviously same thing with Dark Ruler. Twin Twisters too. Basically just a bunch of... We're not playing any hand traps besides maybe the D-Crow, and so we are just using it to clear the board. Okay, let's do an example of some combos, right? And we'll kind of talk about how some of this works. But you can easily make a pretty good board. Our best board is usually like 2 Synchro Monsters, or and then 2 Exceed Monsters. And then if we have Here There Be Dragon, you set that in the back row, and that just is amazing there. Your opponent, only way to break the board, is if they main deck like Dark Ruler, or they have like Lava Golems or something like that, right? Okay, so gave a deck a bit of a shuffle here, so it's not the greatest shuffle in the world, but for example, right, so let's just say this is our opening hand. We have something decent. Let's say our opponent doesn't really open up with the hand traps, because hand traps are kind of rare. So let's go with this, right? So for here, we can do this. So we can discard this, the Spectre and the Arm Dragon level 5, search for R2. So looking at our hand here, we probably want a baby, probably either the two small babies. So the option is to, so this deck, Dragon Ruler, is not a linear deck. So you need to really know your deck very well to pilot this deck. So you kind of need to know what you want to search for, what you're gonna go, what's the the game plan is gonna look like with each of your opening hands, because it's not a linear deck. It's not like just normal summoning and doing something. You have to search and you have to figure out what you're doing. Okay, so before I go on off more tangents, so let's just say I search the two babies, right, of the attribute that I'm missing. Now level 5 activates. What do I want to search? Probably grab the Power Dragon, right? So what I like to do here is I just like to start off with the Power Dragon just to kind of get something going, right? So I searched for the wrong thing. This should be the I guess we just keep it. It doesn't really matter too much. We can keep it as draft sword. Actually, let's do this. Let's do draft maybe, because we kind of want to save Renekton. We don't really want to summon it. So we might go for drop. Or, like I said, this as you can kind of see, it's already hard to kind of piece together what you want to do. Anyways, so let's say we summon this by discarding a level Arm Dragon level 7. So this is our discard pile. So we discarded it, summoning it. Now Arm Dragon level 7 will search for an Arm Dragon, right? Let's say we search for. Doesn't matter. We'll search for another copy of itself. Now, obviously, you can't use it again, but you can use it as just a discard fodder anyways. Then you can use Power Dragon, target itself, its effect, dumps a Arm Dragon of whatever you want. So we haven't used 3 yet, so we'll just dump the level 3. Here, level 3 activates for you to draw a card. Let's give it a quick shuffle. We draw a card. So we draw another Spectre. Doesn't really matter too much. So as you can kind of see, we have 6 cards in our hand and a arm. So we've already plus 2 cards without really doing too much. Okay, so looking at the hand, what do we want? I kind of low-key want to get a Rose Dragon, right? So there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either use Tempest, discard something, search for a Rose Dragon. Or you can try to get a big dragon out here, so that way you can just go into Chasma, and then you can search Rose Dragon through Chasma's effect of dumping Tempest. But since I have so many cards in my hand, and I don't particularly care about Tempest too much, let's just do that, right? So let's activate Tempest. We'll discard the level 7 that we got. Search for the Rose Dragon. So we got Rose Dragon here, right? So we got Rose Dragon. So this card's dead in our hand, doesn't do anything. Rose Dragon we can normal summon. Given that we've already have that, so we can do one or two things. We can activate Steam, dump the useless copy of whatever, right? We dump the Spectre, summon Title, right? Now we can go overlay them if we wanted to for generally Chasma is your go-to target. Now we're technically missing the rock one, right? We're missing Redox. So if you want to get, we can go activate, send Title, send Redox from deck to grave. Copy its effect. It reborns a monster. It doesn't really matter what we reborn per se. Let's just say we want to reborn. I don't know. It could be even this. I think this doesn't need a to be properly special summoned. Sure. Let's just reborn Armed Dragon, right, for the sake of it, because I think that's perfectly fine there. So we have Armed Dragon. Now, what we can do is then, if we need in our body, we can start using their names. So we haven't used a lot of the names quite yet. So let's say we do Redox then, right? So we activate Redox from grave to special summon it. We can banish the Tempest because we've already used it. And then we can also banish the well, we could banish a steam or something like that, right? So we banish a steam here. Doesn't really matter too much. Oh, it does matter, but I think our graveyard's already so stacked up. I don't think it matters all that much. So we have these two. Now we can overlay this, right, into a... Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Into a Eclipse. Okay, so Eclipse on summons effect. You can target whatever. You can target a banish steam, put that to your deck, and then summon out another steam. Or sorry, title. I keep mixing up their names. Their names are a lot. So let me try to scoot this over. So that's what we have, right? We have this is our banish, graveyard, field, hand. So that's what we got. Now we can do normal summon Rose Dragon. You want to go for our synchro plays? We can then go synchro this off, go to Dissipator, right? So you have then you have Rose Dragon's effect. Since it was used as a link material, you can then summon the this deck searches a lot, so you summon Rox Rose on summon, searches for a Rose Dragon to add to your hand. So that is your hand right now. So you have 3 cards in your hand plus this. Now, what you can do is you can, if you wanted to, you can use, draft, discard a blaster, right? And then you can go into Tempest, or if you want to keep this in your hand for a follow-up play, you can then use, I believe we haven't used titles, so you can use titles effect, banish Rose and banish, let's say, another title, right? Summon that out. Now you can link these away, or sorry, synchro those away into whatever you want, into, let's say, the Arm Zero or whatever. So pretty much we have this in our hand, so we do have a follow-up play, right? We have a potential quick play pop or search, and then we have a trap spell negate, we have a pop or negate, and then we have a elemental negate based on whatever you have in your graveyard, right? You can even use Dissipator to special summon Rox Rose from the banish if you wanted to, just to have another body on the board. But yeah, that's kind of like an example, right? So based on that hand alone, I was able to get this out. And you can kind of go for any combination you want. This board is better if you can somehow get, here, there, be dragon, because if your opponent, say you pop a card, you negate a card, right? So this is all in your graveyard. And maybe somehow blasters in your graveyard too, right? If you had here, there, be dragon, you would overlay these two, and then you would pop in like the title, the Tempest from your banished zone, all under the effect of disaster. So then, unfortunately, here, there, be dragon can't be searched, but this would be something like you can also have. So if your opponent just tries to play through your board, they don't have any way to stop all of this. We can negate most of their monster effects, eventually get this out, and then our turn. This is a 4600 beater. If you have all the rulers under it, which we do, or at least we can easily get to there if we wanted to. So that's kind of like the bread and butter combo, right? As long as you can get into Rose Dragon, you can easily just extend your plays with Bestial Dissipator if you wanted to. So ideally, you search for Rose Dragon whenever you can, either through Tempest's discarding effects or through Chasma to dump the Tempest and copy its effect. So yeah, so that's kind of like the bread and butter combo of the deck, and you can consistently get this board out fairly easily. But it's a non-linear deck, so you kind of have to know which direction you're trying to pilot the deck with that particular hand. And at least from my play test experience so far, um, you know, it's gotten to that board. I want to say like 80% of the time. It's like almost any hand, because the deck searches so much. Almost any hand can become that board. Um, Save for if your opponent has a lot of interaction, right? So like here, for example, this is an amazing hand too, right? So like here, you can even start off with just the Tempest and the Arm Dragon, right? And then you would search for Rose if you wanted to. So let's say you search for Rose here, and then this is in your graveyard, and then level 7 activates, search for, I don't know, a Power Dragon or something, right? You can do that. Um, if you get out Power Dragon, then you can, go in here. Or if you don't have to search for Rose technically, if you wanted to play it more safe and get more names, if you activate that, you can also search for a Spectral, right? So Spectral right here, this might be a safer play. Like you search, go Tempest, discard Thunder Dragon 7, search for Spectral, then you'll also get Arm Dragon level 7, activates, right? You can get a level 5 instead. This way you'll have more bullets in the gun, so that you can just keep extending your play. Sorry, I'm trying to find my level 5 somewhere. Where did they go? Okay, so you grab a level 5, activate a Spectral, discard at level 5, search for whatever, probably the, like one big one and one small one is what I want. I would probably want a Title or a Steam here, and then another big one. Sure, let's just grab a Tempest. It doesn't really matter. So, okay, so let's grab that, right? And then level 5 activates, searches for our sorry, I'm getting lost. Let me grab the Redux here. So we search for the Power Dragon, which there's only one copy of, which is starting to be hard to find. Okay, sorry, there you go. So this is our hand, so we dumped that. So we're up to 6 cards right now, right? We +1. Now we can go Arm Dragon, discarding, I don't know, Blaster if you wanted to. It didn't matter which one. I was just trying to get into all the attributes. So let's discard Blaster, summon it, activate Arm Dragon to discard or to basically poop a card out, or dump a card, I guess you could say. You dump the level 3, you shuffle, draw a card from 3. So you also got to keep track of how many times you discarded this turn, so that way you can get the super rejuve off. So we did like 1, 2. Unfortunately, this doesn't count as discarding; it counts as sending. So so we draw a card. Cool, we draw another one, and from here, yeah, we can just go off again, right? We can go discard this, summon the Title from deck. So our graveyard is massively set up. You can see how much materials we have for just abusing the graveyard at the end. So we go here, we can go into Chasma, activate Chasma, dump this thing, grab Rose Dragon if we wanted to. And then from here, we have basically all the names that we wanted, right? We haven't used these three names. Like we've used Tempest already, so we can't use that again. But we can all use these three names, and we have enough dragons in the graveyard to feel all their summonings. So then you also have Rose Dragon. So yeah, you end up at the same sort of like board state that I showed you earlier. You can go into like Eclipse. You can go into Dissipator, into Arm, and then you can activate Super Rejuve at the end of the turn and draw like 4 more cards. So let's say you draw 4 more cards, right? And then you can set the Hero Be Dear Dragon. If you drew into 2 of them, so if you set one and you drew into a second Hero Be Dear Dragon, you can activate it immediately too. That's an option if you were breaking or something, for example, and didn't have any other plays. But yeah, simple, pretty good. We have 3 effects to use. Most of the time, you don't use their effects to search for their attributes. You only do that when you activate Sacred Swords and you banish a big one. Then you'll search a baby off of the big one. That's usually how you want to do it. But yeah, as you can kind of see, just like basically almost any hand, you can kind of look at it and be like, if you play the deck well enough or long enough, you'll look at it and you'll go, oh yeah, I can definitely get into a pretty nasty board, and you can play through some interaction. Obviously, playing through Droll is very, very difficult. Playing through Ash, you can definitely play through Ash. I've gotten my Spectre Ash multiple times. I've gotten Sacred Sword Ash. Like, you can still play through that, right? So, like, you can look at this hand. This hand's not as great, but it could still be okay. Maybe a little... Okay, maybe not that great. So it's this, because we need a discard outlet, right? So as long as we also have a discard outlet, that's the main thing. The deck needs a discard outlet for it to function. If you draw a bunch of cards that don't discard, like the one you just saw there, where it's like, oh, I have normal and I have 2 big dragons in the hand, then yeah, that kind of sucks. But okay, like this hand is pretty good, right? So you have somewhere to start here. You can go Sacred Sword into Blaster, draw 2 more cards. Obviously, drawing a bunch of spells, not that great, right? So that's why I'm saying that you shouldn't play too many Super Rejuve. You don't want to draw too many copies of them. Even Sacred Sword sometimes can kind of be bricky if you draw too many. If you go Sacred Sword into another Sacred Sword, it might be kind of bad. But, Sacred Sword is a nice +1, so that's why I like playing it. And Here There Be Dragon is just, a way for you to extend your combo on your turn or their turn if you wanted to. But yeah, treat Here Be Dragon as kind of like a Monster Reborn with that is a quick play essentially, right? So you can activate on your turn if you wanted to. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I think that's basically it. I hope you enjoy the deck profile. I hope you learn a little bit on how to pilot the deck, and you can kind of see, what kind of boards you can make. The deck lives and dies by your ability to kind of remember your triggers and remember your what you've used and what you haven't used, and then some of the paths that you can move to get into the stuff that you need. Because there is a lot of searching. There's so much ways to search whatever you need, except for Here There Be Dragon. That's the only card you can't search for. But everything else, you should be able to go from one card into another and bridge into like a Rose Dragon or bridge into the Arm Dragon package. And those engines will help you to kind of take away some of the bad stuff about the Dragon Rulers, because the Dragon Rulers themselves are very minusy. Like, you minus a lot of cards to summon them, you minus a lot of cards to try to bring them back, and so both the Rose package and the Arm Dragon package kind of help mitigate that, and especially in the format where there is Ash Blossom, and that can hit you, and you be down 2 cards. That kind of sucks, right? So yeah, I think both engines play really well together. It gives you some utility, opens up some different plays there. And yeah, you can easily also OTK people. You can play through a lot of interaction on the board. If they don't know what you're trying to do, you can kind of force them to do something weird, and you'll still have a bunch of plays, right? Anyways, that's it, guys. We'll see you guys next time. If you have any questions, just leave them down below, and I'll get to them when I can. Peace.